Welcome back to Passports, Profits, and Pixie Dust. I am super excited today because I have planned for you an official mini summer series all around the psychology of selling travel. And I don't think that I have ever heard anyone really dive into the psychology in this sort of way, especially with this episode today. I think you're going to find it really intriguing, especially if you're one of those people who loves learning all the things all the time. And this idea came to me because it's not something that I use as much as I should. It is something though that comes up a lot when I'm coaching clients. And we're talking specifically about, how they can improve their content or their marketing or even converting people from the marketing to buying from them. And it is something that I learned, and honestly, I can't remember the first time, but I really think it was through my network marketing days. There's a book about this, and I don't remember the name of it. I could find it if you send me a DM. I could send it to you, but it's something about the colors of sales psychology, which will hopefully make sense by the end of this episode. So stay into that, stay in to hear more about that. Um, but it's really intriguing and it's really interesting, and I think that if you take what you learned today and be very intentional about applying it to your business, I know you will see some different results possibly. So before we dive in, little Lindsay life update. We'll do these at the beginning. I'm getting ready to head to San Juan, Puerto Rico for my 7-night cruise with Royal Caribbean on Rhapsody of the Seas. Pretty excited for that. We have decided, so I think I mentioned last episode that the Royal Caribbean app was super glitchy and would only let us book excursions for a couple days. So we only actually have one excursion booked so far. So I'm not sure if we will end up adding someone we get on ship. I don't know for sure. I feel like I've done a little bit of research, well, enough research to know that some of these ports when we get off, your options are like beach, walk around the town, and then some things like hiking. My dad can't physically handle that still, so we're not to the point of hiking like waterfalls and all that. We are going to go to El Yunque rainforest when we are in San Juan, which I'm very pumped about going to San Juan. So we're in full prep mode over here. So I'm getting ready to batch record 3 podcast episodes since my podcasts are usually all under half an hour. And I have about an hour and a half. So we're gonna bust these out. We're gonna see how much we can get through today. And yeah, that's kind of life update from me. So without further ado, let's dive in. And I do have notes today because this is something that I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any pieces of, because it is kind of not techie in the way you think techie, but well, you'll see. It is more scientific, I suppose. So, most travel advisors, myself included, a lot, most likely you as well, you're accidentally selling to yourself. And before you come at me and you're like, but Lindsay, you have told me before that my ideal client is probably some version of me. Yes, I agree with that. 100% agree with that. In the things that you like and the things that you want, but not always necessarily in your personality. Sometimes yes, but sometimes no, especially in your sales personality. We are explaining the things that we care about, that we really like. We are marketing the way that we like to be marketed to, right? So we're picking the platforms that we hang out the most on, which makes a lot of sense. It does. We are sending quotes the way we want to receive them. So maybe you are someone who loves the look of a beautiful quote. Maybe you're someone who loves just a Google file, boom, 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 here it is, not a lot of emotion or personality into it. And then we get confused when people ghost us, right? Raise your hand. Mine's raised. And there's lots of reasons for that. And actually, we're going to dive into those it's either the next one or the third episode of this series, more about ghosting. I think it's the third one. So make sure that in 2 weeks to come back and listen to that episode. I just want to remind you that people don't buy the facts, right? They buy because they feel understood. We are human beings. We are not AI. We are not robots. So one of the simplest frameworks that once I heard it really, really clicked for me was understanding understanding our buyers, understanding our clients as a part of a 4-color personality model. There's lots of different personality assessments out there. I know you've taken them at some point in your life. You've taken the DISC. You've maybe done human design, which I'm a huge human design fan. Maybe True Colors, Insights Discovery. There's another big one, and I should think of it. Like I can hear it, but I can't. I don't know. But anyway, today we're going to specifically talk about buyer personality in regards to 4 colors. And within those, we're going to talk about why sales psychology matters, how each personality buys differently, because they do, how this should change your marketing, knowing all of this, how this might change your sales calls, your sales process, your booking process, your inquiries, all of the above. Because when you understand how someone wants to buy, selling becomes so much easier. Serving these people in the right way becomes so much easier. So, why the sales psychology matters? We're going to start here. Travel's emotional, we know that, right? Nobody needs to travel, really. Like a human need, most likely, we don't need to travel anymore, right? We don't have to. The seasons have changed, and we don't have to go someplace warm, or else we're going to freeze to death over the winter, right? No one needs a vacation. We just want it. People are buying experiences, memories, time together, peace of mind, adventure, status, connection, rest, wellness. And because of all of those things, all those reasons, that means that our emotions drive almost every buying decision. And then our logical brain comes in after to justify it, right? That's why two people can look at the exact same vacation quote and have completely different reactions. Even two people who are like married to each other, this could happen. One is like, looks amazing. Let's book this right now. And the other one's like, okay, I need 17 spreadsheets before I make this decision. I've got to do X, Y, Z. I've got to talk to my mom. I've got to do, whatever. Neither person is wrong. You might find one a little bit annoying because there's probably not the one that's like you, right? But they're just wired different. People are wired different. We know that from everything in life, right? We know that from how we interact with people. We know that from, heck, your family members that you fight with all the time. We all have those, yeah. And so I just want to remind you that our job isn't to convince people. It's to communicate the information in a way that makes them feel confident in their decision moving forward. So to do that, I'm going to break down the 4 buyer personalities first for you, okay? This might be a good one to take notes for. So come back, if you're driving or showering or whatever, come back, listen to this again to jot some notes down for it. But the first color personality, and you can also be a combo. I want to add that too. Usually people have like a dominant color and then like a secondary color. So I am this color, and that is red. Red is the driver. These people are decisive, they are confident, they are busy. They value efficiency, they value results, and they want them now. They want competence, they don't want you to be making errors. They don't want the fluff, they just want answers. Like, they don't need to see all the pictures to know that this is where they want to go. They appreciate someone who knows what they're doing. A red personality is going to ask questions like, what's your recommendation? What would you do? What's the best option? What do I need to know? What do I need to be prepared for? They don't need 20 resort options. They don't need you to send them all 12 PDFs with options. They're already overwhelmed because they're doing a million things. They hired you because they want your expertise and they want you to help narrow it down. They value from you confidence, quick communication back to them, clear recommendations, fast booking, and organization. So when we're marketing to our reds, headlines like these, they're going to love. Save hours planning your vacation. I've already done the research, so you don't have to. Here's my top recommendation. Here's why. Skip the overwhelm. And then, you go into that a little bit more. Reds are going to love authority. They love a good testimonial because if someone else likes your services, they're probably going to love your services as well. They also love credentials. They like it when you post that you just earned your Royal Caribbean Masters thing, even though they might not even know what that means. They're like, okay, this girl's spending some time. All right. And they like the expertise. They like it when you've been to those destinations, and or they like when you show that you have known enough and invested enough that you are an expert. Okay, so there's a red. So I'd love to hear, maybe this is my call to action for this episode. I would love to hear, maybe drop it in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, or send me a DM. Let me know which color you are. I'm just super curious. Okay, blue. Blue is the analyzer. These are my researchers, the spreadsheet people, the comparison shoppers. Not because they don't trust you, but because information makes them feel safe. They want all the details. They want all the policies. They want all the cancellation terms. They want the reviews, the deck plans, the room comparisons, the insurance information, every FAQ imaginable plus one. They ask things like, what's included? What happens if? Can you compare these? What are the pros and cons? These people might drive you a little bit crazy. Yeah. They're going to value accuracy, which, I mean, let's be real. Everyone values accuracy, but our blues really do. Transparency, research on your part, preparation, and organization. When we are marketing to blues, the type of things that they're going to like are educational blogs, our FAQs, our comparison guides, our destination guides, our checklists, our detailed emails. This is exactly why content marketing works so well, because every blog post is going to answer a question for them. Every podcast builds trust for them, and every email reduces uncertainty. So blue is my secondary color, if you do not know. And one way to tell it about me is if you pay attention to my marketing, I have a blog every week, and I've had, I don't even know, maybe 1,000 blogs on my website. If you go to lindsaydollinger.com, you can see all kinds of past blogs about business growth and you name it. I put out a lot of lead magnets that are things like comparison guides, destination guides. I make all these things for my clients. I have these sorts of things automated in turn. So I very much lean into the blue marketing because I am also a blue, right? Okay, greens. Greens are the relationship builders. Okay, let me also put a little like asterisk in here. If you work a 9 to 5, or even maybe with your family, this would be interesting to figure out your colors. I had a work meeting one time in my department, and we were all coming out with our colors. And our boss was kind of pointing out that, like, well, maybe this is why you guys clash sometime, because Lindsay, you're a red and a blue, and Jessica, you're a green and a yellow, right? And it was just really interesting. And he actually, it wasn't him, it was his boss who was in the meeting, gave this beautiful analogy, and I can't remember all the colors, but basically she gave it as there's a car accident, and she gave what every person's role is. Like, you witness a car accident, and the red is going to pick up the phone and call 911. The blue is going to come over and they're going to start giving orders. Like, you over there, open the car, pull this person out. Like, they're going to boss everyone around because they're organized. They have all the things. And they're also the person who, when the police come, they will give a very detailed, like, step-by-step, like, police report. Our greens, which we're getting ready to talk to, our relationship builders, they're crying. They're over on the side crying. They can't handle what is going on. And yellow, these people are enthusiasts. They also might be crying, but they're probably working with, like, comforting the person who was in the car accident, for example. So, like, that visualization, I was like, okay, that is very, yes, okay. So anyway, side note. All right, let's talk about our greens. As I already mentioned, greens are our relationship builders. These people are relationship driven. They are loyal to you. These are some of our favorite people as clients because they're kind, they're community oriented, they care who they're working with, and more than anything, they want to know, can I trust you? And they're going to refer you to other people. They don't necessarily book with the cheapest advisor. They book with the advisor they connect with. So they're not going to be shopping around. They like you for you. And they're going to ask you some questions like, maybe, how long have you been doing this? Will you help if something goes wrong? What happens during travel? They value connection, consistency, which you guys know I love my C's, personal service, communication, and kindness. Okay, marketing to greens. The green people want to know your story. They want to know the behind the scenes. They want to see the client wins and the personal experiences. They want to know why you became a travel advisor. They want to see pictures and videos of you. They want to hear your voice and see you talking on video, talking head style. They want the voice notes back and forth, and they want to see your personality in your messaging. They don't want the blanket ChatGPT made email responses, or the ones that don't start with, "Hey Heather, how are you?" and just dive right in, right? They want a little bit of that personal touch into the experience. Okay, and then the yellows. The yellows we're going to call the enthusiasts. These are your fun people. I always like to think, like, these are the fun, like the rainbows. Like, I think of the yellow Care Bear, and, you know, I don't know. I don't know why I think that, but I just think of the yellow Care Bear. They're fun, they're dreamers, they're spontaneous, they're excited. They buy emotionally. These are the emotional people. They love possibilities, so you can paint the picture for them and tell them how, like, make them feel as though they are part of this trip already. They're often planning vacations while they're still on the vacation. They're going to ask things like, what's new in this location? What would be amazing? What's everyone talking about? They love the upgrades. They love the unique experiences. They want the Instagram worthy, unique experience that no one else has done. They want the VIP moments and they want the bucket list destinations. They value excitement, creativity, experiences, fun, and inspiration. Marketing to yellows is going to be a little different. They're going to actually care about the beautiful photography. So, all these episodes that I've done where I'm like, it doesn't matter about the pictures you show. To yellows, it does. Beautiful photography. They want to see the destination video so they can start imagining themselves in that destination. They want the bucket list lists. They want the top 10 experiences that you would do in Rome that no one else does. This cruise has a roller coaster. This resort has overwater hammocks. This river cruise visits 5 Christmas markets instead of 4. Paint the picture. Help them imagine themselves there. So, hopefully that alone was mind-blowing enough that you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to start thinking about people in a different way. Yes, friends, you do. Because as travel advisors, we're guilty. We a lot of times communicate in just one way, or maybe two. Like I said, I'm a red with a really strong blue presence. So those are the two that I tend to do the most. And that's just because it's my way. Because maybe you're analytical. So every email becomes 5 pages long. Maybe you're relationship focused. So you spend 90 minutes chatting before discussing the trip on a call, which to me, I don't want to do the fluff on the call. I want to get in and out, right? Like I am efficient, friends. I am productive. I got stuff to do. So when I have to spend like 30 minutes shooting the shit, whew, that drives me crazy. Okay. And that's something that I need to keep in mind because to some people that's really, really important. Okay. Maybe you're a driver, so you become impatient with the clients who need the time to think. Maybe you're the yellow. You overwhelm the analytical clients with the excitement because you forget the details and they have to keep asking you these questions and they're like, dude, is she incompetent? Why does she not think ahead about what I need, right? None of these are wrong. They're just incomplete. Professional sales means adapting, not changing who you are. I don't want you to change who you are, your personality, but I want you to consider tweaking how you communicate and how you show up. So let's talk about those discovery calls if you're doing discovery calls. Instead of asking the exact same questions every time and not really deviating from your script, I want you to really start listening for clues. Do they interrupt with direct questions? Probably a red. Do they ask for details? Probably a blue. Do they tell stories about their family? Maybe a green. Do they light up when they're talking about experiences? They're probably a yellow. Knowing those things, we can then mirror what they need. If they're a red, we can get to the point and cut out some of the stories. If they're a blue, we can say, I will follow up after this call and I will provide you with the PDF of everything that you're asking for. If they're a green, we're going to spend a little bit more time building a relationship. And maybe you're going to share a story about when you went to that one cafe in Barcelona, Spain, and it was just magical. And you will be sure to give them the name of that in all of their documents so that they can go to that too. If they're yellow, dream with them. Dream with them. Have some fun. This is going to change your quote process because we don't necessarily need to be sending the same type of proposal to 4 different clients as long as we kind of know them a little bit, right? So for a red, this is just my recommendations. Obviously, you're going to take this with discernment and tweak it for your business. But if you know for sure that someone's a red or you're getting those red vibes, 3 recommendations tops. 1 clear favorite. You got some bullet points and you got your fast next steps. You're ready to go. Let's get the ball rolling. Blue, you're going to have maybe a comparison chart. Maybe you only have 2 options and you actually wrote out the comparisons for them. You might have the pricing breakdown if you can provide that. You have all the included amenities on there, all the policies linked, the insurance is already, the policies are all linked, the FAQs, etc. The green, you add a little personal note to that proposal. Why you chose each option, what you like best about each one. You have some reassurance in there. And you have support throughout the travel, which again, a lot of this, friends, we should be doing at all times. But these are the things that these people are going to really, really appreciate from you. And the yellow, we're going to make that proposal pretty. We're going to put some pictures in there. We're going to link some YouTube videos if we want. We're going to really talk about the experiences and maybe go out of our way to, instead of just shooting people our Viator, what's it called? Like the referral link. We're going to actually do a little research for them and say, this one got really great reviews. I think you're going to love this. It's super unique too, maybe. These people are going to want the excursions. They're going to want you to point out the special moments, any sort of VIP opportunity that's available. All of these, it could be the exact same vacation, but completely different presentations depending on who you're talking to. So, how is this going to change your marketing? So, we talked about the booking, the sales, the quoting. Now, we're going to work back now to our marketing because this is where it gets really fun. I am going to challenge you to look back at your last 10 social media posts. Who are they speaking to? Are they in the same style? If every post says, look at this beautiful beach, you're probably attracting the yellow. If everyone is educational, you're mostly attracting blue. If your posts are all about your credentials, reds. And if your post is personal, you're probably attracting greens. The magic is going to happen when your content speaks to all four. And this is really easy if you do your content planning in Google Drive or Trello to color code things, color code your posts, and see if you have a good mix. Do you have your posts for your reds, your yellows, your greens, your blues? I did this in a former business of mine very intentionally for a while, and I saw some fabulous results. Here's what a week could look like. So Monday could be an educational travel tip, which would be a blue. Tuesday, a client success story, that would be a green. Wednesday, a bucket list destination, which could be like a yellow. Thursday, why working with a travel advisor saves time and stress. That could be a red. It could also be like, I just did this training with Virgin Voyages and I learned XYZ. Friday, behind the scenes in your business. That could be a green. Saturday, travel inspiration for my yellows. And Sunday, like an FAQ or a myth busting could be a blue. And then you just kind of like repeat that, right? Now, tweak that for you, obviously. Make it work for you. If you want to post 4 times a week, great. Do one for each color, right? So figure out what that could look like for you. And watch your audience start seeing themselves in your content. And I would be really curious too, if you tracked this, if certain people only commented or liked certain ones. Like if you could track and be like, oh, she's definitely a red. I think that could be a really cool thing to kind of figure out. So I also want to remind you with this that not all of us just fit into one color. We're all a blend of colors. I know, like I said, I'm a mix myself, red and blue. Red and blue are my 2 big ones. The goal isn't to label people, right? But it's just to become a better listener and more in tune with our sales skills, because this is a skill. The more curious you become, the easier sales are going to become for you. So here's what I want you to remember. People don't want the perfect itinerary. I mean, we do. However, we want the confidence in their decision. They want the confidence in their decision. Because when clients feel seen and understood, right, and they trust you, when they feel like you just get them better, the sale becomes easier. Not because you became pushy, but because you became more relevant. The best travel advisors aren't always the ones who know the most. They're the ones who communicate the best. And communication starts with understanding the person who is sitting across from you on the other side of that phone. So this week, I want you to challenge yourself. Listen more. Pay attention to how your next inquiry communicates and ask yourself, how do they want to buy? And then meet them there. I think you'll be amazed at how much easier the sales process and the marketing really becomes when you get really intentional about this. So if you love today's episode, I'd love for you to share it with another travel advisor who could use a little sales psychology in their business. Make sure you come back next week and the following week for the next two episodes in this series, all about sales psychology. I think it's really interesting. Like I said, I feel like it's really unique that a lot of people have not discussed this. And if you're looking for more marketing strategies, business systems, and practical ways to grow your travel business without feeling sleazy or salesy, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep dreaming big and creating magical memories for your clients. Go out there and create and own your magic, friend. Bye-bye.